Yo, what's up? What's going on, everybody? We're back. So, like I said, we're planning on doing a mini-me swap. So, let's go over that. What do you need for a mini-me swap? First thing you're gonna need is a D16 Z6 or a D16 Y8 head. I'm going with the D16 Z6 route. Everything I have is basically here. Picked up some brake lean to clean everything up as this head has been sitting for a little bit. For those of you that don't know, a Y8 head is off a 96 to 2000, so that is an OBD2 head. I'm not too sure what it entails going that route, but there is a thing called a reverse mini swap, and that's where you use a Y7 head, which is also a 96 to 2000. With the Z6 head, it is OBD1 still. I'm going that route because the car is already OBD1. Might as well stay with that. I'm pretty sure the Y8 plugs are going to be the same. Here she is. Like I said in the previous video, my car is an EX, so I do not have the wires or ECU, basically just plug in play. But if you have a EX wiring harness, might help you out in the engine bay side, but you still need to run wires to your ECU or PCM, whatever. What you're gonna need here, VTEC plugs. So you got your solenoid at the top, and then you got your pressure switch on the side. So as you guys can see, I need to clean this girl up. I'm off Amazon, and I did try them, and they fit and work perfect. I'm not sure if I'll be going over the wiring in this, but it's pretty simple from everything that I watched. So this was like $6 or $7. I'll try and leave a thing in the description. Grabbed it off Amazon. Next thing you guys see here is I got a cosmetic head gasket, and here you guys go. Here is the part number. I thought it was cosmetic, but it looks like cosmetic head gasket. I'm going with that because holy fuck, that just scared the shit out of me. Box just fell. I'm going with the cosmetic head gasket because I have it hanging here because I'm gonna spray it with a copper head gasket by Permatex. I'm gonna spray it with this stuff. Short story, the head that I had on the car was bad and really rotted and stuff. That copper head gasket stuff, because it's supposed to help seal better, and also with temperature and stuff like that, the head was bad and rotted out and stuff. So I acquired another head. Turns out that head was cracked internally somewhere. So here I am mini-me swapping it. The cosmetic head gasket is a bit thicker with the layers, and also I don't know if you guys can really see or tell, but there is kind of like this rubbery kind of coating layer to help seal. We're just gonna hang it up on here, and we're gonna spray that in the copper gasket to also help seal it up, because I may have low spots on the block, although very well could have just been the head. I do suggest sending out your head to get not blocked but shaved, you know, make sure it's flat and good. My situation, I'm not doing that, so don't hate on me in the comments. But next mod I'm also doing is ARP head studs. Here's part number for that if you guys need. Why am I doing that? I've seen things where, I mean, it's not going to be crazy power up boost. I'm probably, from the videos I watched, I see someone dyno a D15 B7, and the car, it was a CRF, kind of same mileage. It made like 75 horsepower, but people say they make like 100 horsepower. And then doing this mini-me swap, you end up making like about 100, 150. People suggest doing the head studs because the torque and new compression ratio and stuff like that, it's just safer to have these. And I had these to do the Z6 build back there, if you guys can see it. So we're just gonna use them. Also, you shouldn't really use your original head bolts, but I have, and nothing catastrophic has happened. So again, these are a little expensive, but I hear that it's worth it. Next on the list is, I guess you need a Y7 or Y8 cam gear. So I guess a Z6 head, the decking is lower. And so basically if you take this head and put it on the block and just use the Z6 cam gear, it's not gonna line up. The valves will smack the pistons and you don't want that happening. Or you could get an adjustable cam gear. I do have that, but I'm trying to not re-spend money. So I had the Y7 block, the black car. I'm going that route. It's supposed to space it out like 4 degrees, I think positive degrees. So yeah, we got that. And then obviously I needed a VTEC gasket. So there's the Dorman part number there, and that's what she looks like. And then you also have a gasket that goes up in here. Very easy to switch out. I do suggest doing that because if you have an oil leak, it's usually the front or rear main or your VTEC solenoid or valve cover. So I do have a new valve cover gasket as well. On the list is, I guess you will not be able to use, I'm gonna try it. I guess you will not be able to use the D15 distributor, or Dizzy they call it for some reason. Luckily, I have a bunch of parts from the motor haul and shit I got, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully those Dizzies are good, or distributors are good. I'm gonna use those, and I went ahead and bought myself a set of plug wires. So there's that part number. I don't really know. Looking at forums and different stuff, like as you see, head gasket says it's only for D15, D16, but it doesn't really specify, you know, which car, you know what I mean, which motor. Where the Felpro gasket I got says Y7, Y8, and 92 to 02, and the Z6, and the Y5, whatever that is. I mean, I really don't know. Where I seen in forums, they say you can't even use the D15 timing belt, where I go to order parts and they say it's the same thing that'll work on any motor. So I'm not too sure. I did order a timing belt, but it's not going to be in until next week, and my timing belt is still good, so I'm going to try and use it. It sucks. I bought like new plug wires for this distributor, but I guess they are different. And ordering the set for this car, I even think these ones are kind of different from these, which is odd. When I looked up, these are them, so I guess we'll see and find out. And one other mod that I'm going to be doing is block guard, they call it. This one's from eBay. I think it'll be okay. What a block guard does, see it there? She just kind of sits here at the top, is just for coolant passages, basically, to help cool down the cylinder walls and all that. Basically, from all the torque and stuff like that, they tend to move back and forth. So what people do is, I forget what the company is, but it's pretty cool. They just kind of like glue this shut, if that makes sense. There's a bunch of different block guards. I don't know what's better, what's worse. As you see, this one, I don't know if it was used, or don't really know the history of this motor. They have one there, so I figured I might as well just put that in for the extra protection. From what I understand, a D15 bottom end not only gives you more compression because the head and the deck are closer now. I believe the D15 bottom end is more torqueier than the Z6 bottom end, higher RPMs. One more mod I'm going to be doing is the Z6 manifold. Now, how do you know if it's a Z6 manifold? Let me show you on the back of the manifold. But right there it says P28, and that's how you know it's Z6 manifold. They suggest you use a Z6 manifold because it's correctly ported. D-series groups I'm in, they say you can use a Y8 intake manifold. If you're going turbo, they suggest using a Z6 because the runners are longer, more equal length, and you could get more air in there. Where if you're staying NA, they say that Y8 intake manifold is better for higher revving, stuff like that. I'm not going to use it. Other than that, I think I went through everything that you need. I'll try and take you guys along the process, but I kind of stripped down my motor already, but I guess I'll go over it. For starters, what you're going to want to do, take your valve cover off, take timing cover off, and you want it to say up and these two marks lining up with the top of the head. Down below, the crank pulley and timing cover case isn't on, but you do have I don't even know if you guys could see, you do have an arrow down there, so the arrow will match up with the notch in the crank gear, whatever you want to call it. But basically you want to put your car at top dead center. This is your first cylinder, so make sure this piston's up at the top and this back piston's up at the top. Take your manifold off, take your intake manifold off, take out your distributor, drain the coolant out, unplug everything, basically go into the head. I think this might be an oil pressure sensor, got a temperature sensor, you got your heater core line that goes here, PVC kind of deal that goes over here, you got to take off. And that's basically it. Furthermore, explain how to get your intake out. You're gonna have to undo, you know, your throttle cable. My car is automatic, so you also have a transmission cable. This is your TPS sensor, your map sensor. You unplug this little guy back here and basically remove your fuel line, injector harness. Then you're gonna have to remove this main line here that loops around, fuel line here, and also underneath the intake manifold right there, you guys can see right there is another coolant fitting there. And then right here in the middle you have your breather tube that you have to undo. Take your power steering line out of the brackets, and then underneath the car brace with 4 bolts, just take that off and your intake will come off. Yo, what's up guys? So we're back. This head is all fucked up on the bottom. There's holes in the valves and stuff, so can't use that head. So I quickly sent out my other head that I had laying around. Got it all machined, brand new valve seals, all valves seated, and the head is decked. So the next step with this head is to put in our sensors, install our VTEC solenoid and pressure switch and all that, new gaskets. Also, we have to put on our timing cover, new cam seal, and change our cam gear out with a Y7 or Y8 cam gear. Alright guys, so something that I just discovered was this is my D15 B7 valve cover for the head. So I noticed, I figured I'd check. So this is the Z6 P28 P08, you know. So this guy fits on here perfect. Bolt hole lines up, everything's good. The head is together. We have our sensors, we have thermostat, VTEC solenoid, our cover back on, all ready. So now is the next step. And got myself some ARP studs. Here's the part number on that. I got myself a block guard. So there you guys go. And then since I sent the head out to get machined and everything, I went ahead and took grease and lubed everything up so nothing would rust. So now with the ARP head studs, Some people do, some people don't. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet, but you put grease on one end, you sink them on down in, hand tight, put the head gasket on, slide the head on down. For the VTEC swap, right here in the middle, there is going to be a plug here, and all it is just a machine plug. All you need to do is just take like a little machine screw, kind of just turn it in there, and then pair of pliers and just pull it out. Came out really easy. Gonna clean this all up, start putting in the ARP studs. Cleaned her all out, as you guys can see, looking pretty good. Now it's time for the ARP studs. There's two sides. You have this side with nothing, and this side with an Allen key or a hex head. There, you want the head facing up. I'm gonna use the lubricant. There you guys go. Just get her on there. Just a little bit like that. Start screwing them down in there. Okay, so we have all the ARP studs. I decided to use a teeny bit of grease, as I showed you guys. Put them all down and in there. Put them hand tight with a 1/4 inch drive with the number 4 hex head on there. And as you guys can see, got the gasket on there. Make sure if your gasket has a marking on it, up, so it's facing up. It is copper sprayed already. And one note with the head studs is that back here in the corner, this head stud is higher up than the rest. From the research, everything is okay. Now if you're just putting these head studs in with a D15, I want to say it's okay, but don't quote me on it. But from what I understand is head stud sticks out is higher up than every other one. The rest of them are all seated in there. So supposedly that's why it looks like that. I do have a D15 head over here, so we'll check that out real quick also. So it should be okay. As you see right here, it is higher up. The rest of them are all sunk in. Sunk in. So you should be okay with the head studs. Now I am going to put the dowel pins in. I had a Z6 manifold laying around. I got all sensors put on, vacuum hoses, the breather for the back, the new coolant lines hooked up. Everything is ready to go, new gaskets and fuel injectors, and yeah. So all the porting should match and be okay. Let's say you only got the manifold. I want to say the throttle bodies, they're exact same. I matched them up, but this is the Z6 one. This is the setup I'm running. The intake on first, because if you guys don't know, there is a coolant hose that goes right here, and obviously you guys see it, and it'll be easier to put the breather back in there. All right, people, head is on there. Next step, ARP washers and the nuts. I seen this trick, shout out Jimmy Oaks, seen this from him. Basically put all your nuts and washers in the bag, put the rest of the ARP grease in there. This is where it gets really messy, and I don't have gloves, but now you just put everything on there. So with the ARP studs, you're gonna want to torque them in increments. So we're gonna go 40, 60, and then 80, and then they should be good. I also hear that people, they will do a couple miles and double check torque. Probably a good thing to do. I don't really know if I'm gonna do that, but obviously if we do, I'll let you guys know and see if it changed or if it didn't. I don't know. This topic is extraordinary. Oh shit. What's up, guys? Tom's Honda's here, and welcome back. Sounds pretty cool, huh? As you guys see, Z6 head on there. All nice and bolted down. ARP studs are in and torqued from 40 to 60 to 80 foot-pounds. They're going to be torqued to 14 foot-pounds. Then the 10 millimeter bolt, 1, 2, 3, 4, are going to be torqued to 9 foot-pounds. Your valves, you will need a 10 millimeter wrench and a flathead screwdriver. You will need a tool like this, which is basically a 10 millimeter with a screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver in there. This tool makes it very easy. And then you're going to need yourself a feeler gauge. So what you're going to have to do is put your engine at top dead center. So make sure your cam gear says up. The two sides are level with your head. Exhaust. Okay, this is exhaust. Exhaust 1 and exhaust 3. So I already adjusted mine. You will be able to adjust intake side 1 and 2. For the intake side, on your feeler gauge, you want 7 millimeters. And for your exhaust side, you want 9 millimeters. You want to go until you have some drag. I'll show you guys on the intake side. You're just gonna and there you go. That is how you adjust your valves. Alright, you guys, let's see. 9/22, October 22nd, 22. Alright, so I was gonna run the Mugen valve cover, but I don't have a valve cover gasket, and Y8, Y7, Z6 valve cover gaskets are the same. Took that valve cover off and just put it over here. Fluids are in, got oil. If you guys are just doing testing, I suggest only using water as nice and quick. And then when Cherry did the first head swap, also put in coolant and it went horribly wrong. So that being said, use water. So water is filled up, oil is filled up, fuel lines connected, everything's connected and ready to go. Hopefully there's a rotor in there. And also, if you could see here, indentation there on, I guess, the rotor, we'll call it. You also have these two markings. This mark over here too, that kind of like tells you. But basically, if you have it correctly turned and you're trying to push the distributor into the cam and it's hard, flip it around. So I believe the way I got it in, it was just like this to get it in, and it slid in perfectly fine. It didn't give me any issues. With that being said, knowing Cherry, batteries charged in one start. So I'm gonna take you guys along for the ride. Oh, she hasn't been opened up in forever. Wow, I miss this car so much. So much. So, also, if you guys didn't know, I upgraded the gauge cluster to an EX gauge cluster. Also, I don't know at this point, I did not, sorry if it's pitch black, I did not swap over the ECU. So my car is automatic, so I need an automatic ECU. Luckily, Midnight was an automatic VTEC motor, D16 Z6 motor. So I have the computer over there, or ECU, PCM, whatever. If she doesn't start up, I'm gonna go grab that and plug it in. But we're gonna try it. So, gonna let the fuel pump kick on a couple times. Oh, hell yeah, boy! Woo! Wow. Hell yeah, motherfucker! Wow. Woo! It is smoky. Hell yeah. Holy fuck, dude. So I don't know if she was running a little rough because maybe the distributor needs to be adjusted a little bit, but wow, she was stinky. That might have been because the coolant being in the exhaust before, but also I don't know if you guys heard, she was kind of blowing air through here, so I don't exactly know what that means, but dude, holy fuck. And she didn't go kablam out really good. I was scared that I did damage to the bottom end. Oh yeah, dude. I was so nervous because with the swap, if you don't use the Y8 or Y7 cam or buy an adjustable cam, the valves are gonna slap the piston and you'll ruin your engine for sure. But dude, this is big moment, big moves. Maybe she was running a little wrong because of the computer. So actually, before I do anything, I'm gonna grab the computer and swap it. So give me a couple minutes and I'll get back to you guys. Sweet.